Welcome to the Restricted Handling podcast. This is what's been going on in China in the past 24 hours. First up, the internal situation at the top of the PLA. Yesterday, we talked about turbulence and consolidation. Today, that consolidation looks even more deliberate. Xi Jinping's February 11th remarks to the armed forces are still reverberating. He described the past year as very unusual, very extraordinary, and emphasized what he called political rectification. That phrase isn't decorative. In January, General Zhang Youxia, former vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, was removed. General Zhenli was dismissed as well. The CMC, once a broader leadership body, is now effectively reduced to Xi and disciplined Chief Zhang Shengmin as the only active figures at the core. That's not just a reshuffle. That's a compression of command authority at the apex of the world's largest military. And now we're seeing how Washington is reacting. Within weeks of those purges, the CIA released a Mandarin-language recruitment video targeting PLA officers. This wasn't subtle. The fictional officer in the video talks about mistrust, leaders eliminating potential rivals, a system built on suspicion. CIA Director John Ratcliffe publicly stated that previous outreach efforts penetrated China's internet restrictions and inspired new sources. So if yesterday was about Xi tightening the circle, today is about the U.S. openly trying to slip notes under the door. Now, Taiwan. Yesterday we covered operational pressure around the island, aircraft sorties, median line crossings, the rhythm of normalized coercion. The update now is political and financial. On Thursday, a bipartisan group of 37 U.S. lawmakers formally urged Taiwan's parliament to approve President Lai Ching-te's proposed $40 billion defense expansion. Senators Pete Ricketts and Chris Coons were among the signatories. The letter warned that the threat from the People's Republic of China has never been greater and emphasized that Taiwan must step up spending while the U.S. addresses its own backlog in arms deliveries. The twist is inside Taipei. The opposition-controlled parliament has stalled Lai's full proposal and pushed smaller alternatives. Taiwan's defense minister warned that continued delay risks a rupture in the joint defensive posture with the U.S. That's not a throwaway phrase. That's a signal that deterrence credibility is directly tied to budget votes happening right now. While political leaders argue over numbers, the PLA continues expanding its footprint. Late last year, a Chinese naval task group sailed deep into the Southwest Pacific. We mentioned the movement previously, but now we've got clearer detail on composition and participation. The formation included a Type 075 amphibious assault ship, China's largest class of amphibious vessel, a Type 55 guided missile cruiser, a Jiangkai-class frigate, and a replenishment vessel. This was the first time a Type 075 has traveled that far from Chinese waters. The group approached within more than 200 nautical miles of Australia, staying outside the exclusive economic zone, and later participated in late December exercises around Taiwan known as Justice Mission 2025. No theatrics, no live-fire headlines this time, just steady capability projection. And then there's a development that adds a new layer. During Xi's New Year address, state television showed a PLA cyberspace force unit stationed on Fiery Cross Reef in the Spratly Islands. That's a forward position in the South China Sea, on one of China's heavily developed artificial islands. The unit reported it was on combat readiness duty. That's the key phrase. Cyber forces are no longer portrayed as mainland-bound. They're integrated into contested maritime geography. Think less server farm in Shanghai and more cross-domain node sitting alongside runways and radar arrays. Now let's pivot north. China just completed its largest Arctic expedition ever with the icebreaker Shuilong 2. That included a crewed deep-sea dive beneath the ice. In October, a Chinese-operated container ship completed a 20-day transit from China to Europe via the Northern Sea Route, half the time of the Suez Canal. Official messaging emphasizes climate research and openness to collaboration. But Nordic intelligence services remain cautious. Denmark warned in December that China may seek to operate naval vessels and submarines in Arctic waters within 5 to 10 years. Meanwhile, China and Russia have conducted joint Coast Guard patrols and strategic bomber flights near Alaska in recent years. It's a reminder that when Beijing says scientific research, Western security services hear dual-use potential. Speaking of Europe, espionage cases tied to China continue moving through courts. On February 5th, Greek Air Force Colonel Christos Flessas was arrested for allegedly leaking NATO military plans to Chinese handlers. According to reporting, the Greek National Intelligence Service built the case over 4 months, reportedly after a CIA tip. Flessas allegedly transmitted classified information, including aircraft movement data, after being recruited via LinkedIn and meeting contacts at a NATO conference. He faces a potential life sentence. This isn't Cold War nostalgia, it's LinkedIn-era espionage. Cyber operations remain central. Singapore's cybersecurity agency disclosed that a China-linked group known as UNC 3886 compromised all 4 of its major telecom providers, Singtel, M1, StarHub, and Simba Telecom. Officials said the attackers used rootkits and zero-day exploits. No sensitive data loss was publicly confirmed, and services remained operational, but the scope of access matters. Telecom backbone access means metadata visibility, movement tracking, strategic intelligence. Meanwhile, reporting indicates that U.S. Cyber Command played a decisive role in neutralizing Iranian air defenses during Operation Midnight Hammer last year. According to media accounts citing anonymous sources, U.S. operators exploited vulnerabilities in Iran's surface-to-air missile systems to disrupt tracking and targeting during airstrikes on nuclear facilities. The specifics remain classified, but the takeaway is clear. Cyber effects are fully integrated into kinetic campaigns. Back on the technology front, a federal jury in San Francisco convicted a former Google engineer of stealing highly sensitive AI trade secrets on behalf of the Chinese government. Prosecutors said the material included information about Google's tensor processing unit chips, GPU infrastructure, orchestration software, and SmartNIC networking systems. This is advanced AI compute architecture, not marketing slides. And then we have the nuclear modernization signal. A video posted on Douyin showed what analysts assess to be the nose shroud of a DF-31A intercontinental ballistic missile discovered in Inner Mongolia's Badin-Jaran Desert. The DF-31A has an estimated range of roughly 8,200 miles, placing most of the continental U.S. within reach. The Pentagon estimates China's nuclear stockpile exceeds 600 warheads, and reporting indicates over 100 DF-31 series missiles have been deployed across silo fields in Hami, Yulin, and Yumen. Finally, maritime friction with Japan ticked up again. Japanese authorities seized a Chinese TigerNet fishing vessel inside Japan's exclusive economic zone off Nagasaki. The 47-year-old captain was arrested after failing to comply with inspection orders. This is the first such seizure since 2022 and comes after Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's November remarks, suggesting Japan could intervene militarily if China attacked Taiwan. Thanks for listening and being part of the RH community. Please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. If you want to see some changes, email us at info@restrictedhandling.com. We also publish a daily written intel brief on Substack, where you'll find even deeper coverage of Russia and China, along with insights on Iran, the Middle East, and the DPRK.